Japan, a land of striking contrasts, ancient temples and futuristic cities, stoic warriors and gentle poets, centuries of isolation and flashes of global power. But what truly defines Japan? To answer that, we must journey far beyond the neon lights and cherry blossoms into the myths, battles, philosophies, and revolutions that shaped one of the world's most fascinating civilizations. Long before Japan had emperors or samurai, its islands were home to the Jomon people, hunter-gatherers known for their intricate pottery and deep spiritual connection to nature. Their belief in spirits residing in rocks, rivers, and forests laid the groundwork for Shinto, Japan's native faith. But around 300 BCE, everything changed. The Yayoi people arrived from the Korean peninsula, bringing with them rice cultivation, metal tools, and a more structured society. Power began to concentrate. Villages turned into clans. Clans turned into rivals. The foundation of Japan's future was set, not by gods or myths, but by transformation and struggle. By the 3rd century CE, one clan began to dominate, the Yamato. Their leaders claimed divine descent from the sun goddess Amaterasu, cementing both political and spiritual legitimacy. Massive tombs, kofun, dotted the landscape, symbols of centralized rule. And as Chinese and Korean influences poured in, Japan absorbed new systems: Buddhism, Confucianism, writing, and imperial governance. In 538 CE, Buddhism officially entered Japan. It was more than religion. It was a political tool, a symbol of civilization, and a gateway to diplomacy with powerful neighbors. A key figure emerged, Prince Shotoku. In the early 7th century, he issued a 17-article constitution focused on harmony, hierarchy, and Buddhist ideals. He dared to call Japan an equal to China, a bold declaration from a once tribal archipelago. In 645 CE, the Taika reforms reshaped Japan. Land was centralized, taxation standardized, and the emperor elevated. Japan now resembled a true state, orderly, structured, and ambitious. By 710 CE, a permanent capital was founded at Nara, modeled after China's Chang'an. It became a center of culture, religion, and bureaucracy. But Buddhist influence grew too strong, threatening the throne. So the capital was moved again, this time to Heian-kyo, modern-day Kyoto. From 794 to 1185, the Heian period was a cultural renaissance. Poetry, court rituals, and literature flourished. The Tale of Genji, written by Murasaki Shikibu, offered the world's first novel, a glimpse into courtly life, emotion, and subtle power. But beneath the beauty, change brewed. The aristocracy, especially the Fujiwara clan, ruled from behind the throne. Meanwhile, local landowners created vast tax-free estates. To protect them, they hired warriors, samurai. This new class was disciplined, armed, and fiercely loyal. By the late 12th century, samurai were no longer tools of nobility. They were the power. When two great clans, the Taira and Minamoto, clashed in the Genpei War, it marked the end of courtly dominance. In 1185, the Minamoto triumphed. Feudal Japan was born. In 1292, Minamoto no Yoritomo was granted the title of shogun, becoming Japan's true ruler while the emperor remained a ceremonial figure. The Kamakura shogunate established the first military government. The samurai code, Bushido, emerged. Loyalty, honor, and readiness to die for one's lord. But even the most disciplined armies couldn't stop nature. In 1274 and 1281, Kublai Khan's Mongol invasions threatened Japan. Both times, typhoons, later called kamikaze or divine winds, decimated the fleets. Japan was saved, but the cost was immense. The shogunate couldn't reward its warriors, leading to unrest and eventual collapse. In the 14th century, the Ashikaga clan rose, beginning the Muromachi shogunate. While Zen Buddhism and art flourished, political control weakened. Local warlords, daimyo, grew more powerful, and by the 15th century, Japan plunged into chaos. This was the Sengoku Jidai, the Warring States period, over 100 years of near-constant civil war. But from this darkness came unifiers. Oda Nobunaga embraced firearms and crushed rival clans. Toyotomi Hideyoshi, once a peasant, rose to power, unified most of Japan, and imposed strict social order. And finally, Tokugawa Ieyasu, who won the decisive Battle of Sekigahara in 1600, became shogun in 1603. A new era began. Under the Tokugawa shogunate, Japan entered over 2 centuries of peace and stability. The Edo period, 1603 to 1868, saw strict social hierarchy, economic growth, and cultural richness. Foreigners were banned. Christianity was outlawed. The Sengoku, closed country policy, isolated Japan from the world, except for a single Dutch trading post at Dejima in Nagasaki. Yet Japan thrived within its walls. Kabuki theater, ukiyo-e art, and literacy flourished. Edo, modern Tokyo, became one of the world's largest cities, but peace bred stagnation. Samurai became bureaucrats. Merchants, though low in status, amassed wealth. The social order began to fray, and then came the knock on Japan's door. In 1853, Commodore Matthew Perry arrived with American warships, demanding Japan open to trade. The shogunate, unable to resist, signed treaties. Discontent exploded. By 1868, the shogunate fell. The emperor, a teenage Meiji, was restored to power, marking the start of the Meiji Restoration. Feudal Japan was dismantled. Samurai were abolished. Railways, factories, and schools sprang up. Japan modernized rapidly, absorbing Western technology and military practices. By 1905, Japan shocked the world by defeating Russia in war, the first Asian power to defeat a Western empire. Japan had risen, but ambition was stirring. Japan expanded aggressively, annexing Korea in 1910, invading Manchuria in the 1930s, and forging alliances with Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy. In 1937, the Second Sino-Japanese War erupted, bringing atrocities like the Nanjing Massacre. Then came Pearl Harbor in 1941, pulling Japan into World War II. Battles raged across the Pacific. Japan's resistance was fierce, but by 1945, its cities were in ruins. 2 atomic bombs, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, ended the war. Japan surrendered. The empire was gone. After World War II, Japan was occupied by American forces. A new pacifist constitution was adopted in 1947, banning war. The economy was rebuilt with U.S. aid, focusing on technology, education, and exports. By the 1960s, Japan had transformed again into a global economic powerhouse. Brands like Sony, Toyota, and Nintendo became household names. Anime, manga, and video games exported Japanese culture worldwide. In 1964, Tokyo hosted the Olympics, a symbol of rebirth. Yet questions lingered about identity, war memory, and the balance between tradition and modernity. Today, Japan stands as a global icon of precision, creativity, and resilience, a land where tea ceremonies and AI robots coexist, where temples sit beside skyscrapers. But challenges remain: an aging population, economic stagnation, youth disconnection, and regional tensions with China and North Korea. Yet Japan endures, shaped by catastrophe and creativity. Its history isn't just in textbooks. It lives in its cities, its art, its spirit. This is Japan, a nation forged by isolation and reborn through fire, now standing as a bridge between the ancient and the future.